Before a singer, I was a drummer. Seriousness of recording came to me only after I met Rahman. He is my first and the original mentor of mine. I learned a lot from him.
അറിയാതെ അറിയാതെ പവിടവാർത്തിങ്കൽ അറിയാതെ.
To be honest, I didn't look forward to becoming a playback singer. That was not my this thing. I wanted to compose. I wanted to learn technicality. I wanted to do sound. I wanted to do funny things.
അലയാൻമാ അലിയാൻമാ ഈ പ്രണയതൽ.
ഒരു ഡ്രമ്മറായും പ്ലേബാക്ക് സിംഗറായും ഒക്കെ തമിഴകത്ത് മിന്നിത്തിളങ്ങിയ ഒരു മ്യൂസീഷ്യൻ. മലയാളികൾ അദ്ദേഹത്തെ സ്വീകരിച്ചത് ഒരു മ്യൂസിക് കമ്പോസറായിട്ടായിരുന്നു. പഞ്ചാബി ഹൗസ്, ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻസ്, മഴത്തുള്ളി കിലുക്കം, വൺ മാൻ ഷോ തുടങ്ങി ദിവസങ്ങൾക്ക് മുമ്പ് റിലീസ് ചെയ്ത രാവണപ്രഭു വരെയുള്ള സൂപ്പർ ഹിറ്റ് പാട്ടുകൾ നമുക്ക് തന്നിട്ടുള്ള സുരേഷ് പീറ്റേഴ്സ് സാറിനൊപ്പമാണ് ഉള്ളത്. സർ, താങ്ക് യു ഫോർ ഗിവിങ് us this great opportunity, sir.
Thank you too.
താങ്ക് യു സർ. ഈ മുംബൈയിലും ചെന്നൈയിലും ആയിട്ടൊക്കെ ആയിരുന്നല്ലോ ഈ ബാല്യം. അപ്പോൾ ഈ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഈ മ്യൂസിക്കുമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു അസോസിയേഷൻ തുടങ്ങുന്നത്?
At the age of 4 is when I remember me going on stage. And that too, at that point of time, it wasn't in Bombay, though I grew up in Bombay, it was in Kolhapur. My dad used to travel a lot. So we were shifting places quite often. So though I was born in Chennai, we moved to different places, Kolhapur, Bombay, and then Pune, and finally in Chennai. So during this process, I think my relationship with music started in school itself. Representing my school for culturals and things like that. And also at that point in time, my uncle was into music, not in a professional way or anything like that. But of course, that was also an influence on me. So I had someone in the family who was also into music a little bit. But it was eventually when I came to Chennai that music became something very important to me. I realized I wanted to be a musician. That was in my 10th standard. And from there it has been quite a journey. From school and college, I did my schooling in St. Patrick's, Chennai, my college in Loyola College in Chennai. And especially when I moved to Loyola College in Chennai, right from the first year, I was involved in culturals. So my basic instrument was drums. So I was, before a singer, I was a drummer. I used to play for various bands, and also playing light music, Western music, fusion music. All that became a part of my curriculum in terms of playing music. So from there it developed on, and then I guess music took the front stage for me, and I went into music full time.
മ്യൂസിക് ഒരു കരിയറായി എടുക്കുന്നത് എപ്പോഴും ഒരു ചാലഞ്ചാണല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ആ ഇത് ചാലഞ്ച് മാനേജ് ചെയ്തത്?
See, I can't blame them, honestly, because not then, even now, I can see parents are quite scared about their children getting into music. And well, they have a point. Unless and until it's a calling, it's quite a tough line to come and establish yourself. So obviously parents, even my parents had the same thing, music naalik enna panna pora, because it's not a salary based job, it's not a known job. But I have existed in this industry for close to 30 years professionally, 35 years in terms of semi professional music, and the way I see it is it's a calling for me. So when it's a calling, nothing could stop me, nobody could stop me from anything, and that's all it is. I mean, I have no other reason for that. So at some point in time, even my people, my family realized, okay, I mean, this is his profession. And from that time onwards, they started supporting me. But I had to show results.
Yes.
I literally had to say okay, it's not a profession as the way you look at it. There is security here. There is a career here. So once they came to know about it, they kind of eased off and things like that. And also I've been blessed that way. I mean, I know a lot of musicians who are really much better than me, who haven't come into this field because It is a line where you have to consistently develop yourself. You know, there's yesterday is gone. So that kind of is something that attracted me, and that is the same thing what parents look at as like, you know, we don't know what will happen to our son. What about your future? Yeah, so I found encouragement in my own way, but more than family, I found encouragement with my friends. I had friends from the industry at a very young age, right from college time itself. So I found that, you know, there was support that I required.
ഒരുപാട് പേര് മ്യൂസിക് പ്രൊഫഷനായി എടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അവരോടുള്ള സാറിൻ്റെ ഒരു മെസ്സേജ് എന്താണ് ശരിക്കും?
If you're honest, it doesn't matter whether you're doing music, whether you're doing sports, whether you're into art, theatre, anything. This is a line where people decide. You can be as good as you think you are, but it's people who decide as to whether they want to really keep seeing you, hearing you, and stuff like that. So, if you have made up your mind, don't turn back. Because I have gone through it for 30 years, and I'm telling you, when I'm saying music, you are looking at music as films. But for me, music is not films alone. I do films, I do advertising, I do live concerts, I do stuff for even corporate films, documentaries. You're not free as you think you are. When you expose yourself, there's so much to do in music itself. And one thing I like about music, it's like permanently staying in college. So it's like you could have done something great, but when you want to do something new, again you have to study. And I like that process of doing my research and seeing whether we can change the sound, whether we can. And music is so many categories. You know, today we have music which I call electronic fusion music. So it gives so much of scope compared to what we were. Those days it used to be live instruments, but today because of electronics, it's a very different thing. So it's that development that, you know, there's something more has kept me going. And if you are interested in that, you'll really do well.
Every day is a new day for
Every day is a new day. You have to consistently upgrade yourself in terms of technology and stuff like that.
ഈ കരിയർ മൊത്തം നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഈ നെമസിസ് അവന്യൂ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ബാൻഡ് അങ്ങയുടെ ലൈഫിൽ തന്നെ ഒരുപാട് ചേഞ്ചസ് വരുത്തിയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ബാൻഡാണല്ലോ. നെമസിസ് അവന്യൂ, ഇൻ യുവർ മ്യൂസിക്കൽ ലൈഫ് നെമസിസ് അവന്യൂ made a lot of changes, that is sure.
Nemesis Avenue was just out of college, and it was one of the professional rock bands I played with. We didn't really do so much touring, but one of the things was A.R Rahman was a part of that group at that point in time. We were really young. And the music being rock is another sound. Every category of music is another sound. So we were quite popular at that point of time. And we played a couple of concerts in Chennai, Bombay. And then we toured also. We did a lot of professional shows for college culturals also at that point of time. Yeah, it was, but yeah, obviously all of us wanted to grow into being a little more professional because that was more live. But then my thing was more into studio. I was very interested in recording and technology. So great, had a great time then, and played with the best musicians I can ever imagine at that point of time itself. And then from Nemesis Avenue switched over more into recording and stuff like that.
ബാലമുരളീകൃഷ്ണയായിട്ട് ഈ ഫ്യൂഷൻ പ്രോഗ്രാംസും ഒരുപാട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ. അദ്ദേഹത്തെ പറ്റിയുള്ള ഓർമ്മ എന്താണ് സർ? ബാലമുരളീകൃഷ്ണ.
They're such great people, sir. I mean, I'm just blessed that I got an opportunity also to play with them. For me, it was more not playing with them, but learning. And that was what I would call a seed for my future compositions. When I could hear these people, Vikku Vinayagram, Thiruvarur Bhaktavachalam, and then you had some of the great people. Balamurali Krishna sir was, what do you say, personally itself he was a very close person to me at that point of time. I felt I was a kid. I just was happy to tag along and do whatever they wanted. But eventually I started playing more fusion concerts because of that. along with a lot of classical greats, but as a drummer.
A.R റഹ്മാനുമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു അസോസിയേഷൻ അത് അങ്ങയുടെ ഒരു ലൈഫിലെ തന്നെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയൊരു ടേണിംഗ് പോയിന്റ് ആണല്ലോ ശരിക്കും.
Rahman, I told you, Rahman was there in Nemesis Avenue itself. Association, if you call it, it was before, a lot before Roja, and the seriousness of recording came to me only after I met Rahman. I learnt from him as to like what are the actual things you need to become a good recording musician. So in a way, he is my first and the original mentor of mine. I learnt a lot from him. It was even before Roja, he was doing a lot of jingles. So after college, I also joined advertising. I joined Ogilvy and Mehta as a film executive, and I started getting exposed to ad films, jingles. And I used to visit Rahman a lot at that point in time in terms of creating jingles. And that was my first exposure to recording, even before I went into anything like that. And slowly from Ogilvy and Mehta, I shifted to Lintas, again in the film department. So again, there was exposure to, because ads are films, ads are jingles. So it is recording and it is shooting. So I got exposed to that at a very early age, and also got exposed to a lot of great directors. I sincerely feel advertising for me still is something very challenging, tricky, because you get 30 seconds, 1 minute,
Yes.
and in thousands and thousands of ads, how do you stand out? And it also has something to do with sound designing. Not every ad is a song, so the basic difference I found that in advertising, the hero was the product.
Yes.
It could be a soap, it could be a shampoo, it could, and trying to get an emotional output out of something like that and make, that was challenging. So that was my first exposure into creating music for a film, that is ads. And Rahman was really, really good at that. He kind of, I remember at that point of time there was a ad for Leo Coffee.
Leo Coffee.
Another friend of mine, Arvind Swami, acted in it.
Yes.
It just stood out. It just stood out. A jingle now was no longer a jingle. You could remember it. You could, and we were growing. Before even channels came. Today we have hundreds of channels. Those days it was Doordarshan.
Only.
So creating music for that was an exposure. So that's where it began with Rahman. But eventually it was during the time of Roja that he asked me to join him.
ആ സമയത്ത് തന്നെയാണ് അദ്ദേഹം ഈ യോധ അദ്ദേഹം മലയാളത്തിൽ ചെയ്യുന്നത്.
He was very popular even before Roja. That much I should tell you, because not just Nemesis Avenue, he was playing for a band called Roots, and he was playing along with Zakir Hussain and all those fusion. And at that point of time itself, he was way above average. So it wasn't a surprise when he went into films, because he was also playing for Raja sir. So it's a story that's well known to most of us.
അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ പിതാവ് ശരിക്ക് മലയാള സിനിമയുടെ ഒരു ബാക്ക് ബോൺ ആയിരുന്നു. മലയാളത്തിലെ ഏതാണ്ട് എല്ലാ സംഗീത സംവിധായകന്മാർക്ക് വേണ്ടിയും അസോസിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ആളാണ് അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ പിതാവ്.
Unfortunately, I did not have an opportunity to interact with his father, but I know that he was one of those people in the Malayalam industry.
Backbone of Malayalam film industry.
Yes.
ചിക്ക് ബുക്ക് ഏറ്റവും സൂപ്പർ ഹിറ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള പാട്ടാണ്. പക്ഷേ ആ പാട്ട് പാടാൻ സാറിന് ശരിക്കൊരു കോൺഫിഡൻസ് ആദ്യം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല എന്നുള്ളത് ഞാൻ പലയിടത്തും വായിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. സാറ് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് തന്നെ ഞാൻ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല.
No, Rahman has seen me sing before in ads. I used to do a little bit here and there.
But you are not that confident whether it will be. I heard that few interviews.
First of all, I didn't know I was singing for a film.
Okay.
When the first time he asked me to sing this, because by that time I was already there with him. We had done Roja, we had done May Madam, and then Super Police, and so my job was mainly like to assist him in whatever he wanted, whether it was technical or anything. And he also used me a lot on the backing voices. I was very happy to do it. Whether it was singing ho, 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 or like for Ottagata Katiko or like anything. I was happy just doing stuff. I had not told myself this is exactly what I wanted to do. So I think when the opportunity for Chikku Bukku Railae came, I didn't think I was singing for a film. If you would have told me, I don't think I'd have had the confidence. What you're saying is right. But because he just said sing, and I never questioned. I went ahead and sang. And having this background in Western music, it was nice to do my own harmonies. Harmony was not done by the main vocalist. It was usually done by the backing vocals those days. But happened to do that, so it got a new sound. So enjoyed the creation of the song, but it's only after almost a year when he came back and said, let's re-sing this again. I was like, I understood there was something more to it than what I had thought. And that's when I knew I was singing for a film. But thank God I had already sung the song. So obviously I was working on what I had done, bettering that. So I think he was wise enough to not tell me. But once that happened, it kind of changed my life.
Yes.
It completely changed my life. And
After that, Urvashi came.
after that, see, like I told you, see, it's the audience who decides. When they accepted me in Chikku Bukku Railae, the confidence came after that, not before that. So I was happy to sing next few songs. Whatever happened, yeah, fantastic. But my main thing was, to be very honest, I didn't look forward to becoming a playback singer. That was not my this thing. I wanted to compose. I wanted to learn technicality. Like I wanted to do sound. I wanted to do. Funny thing is that is what I'm doing now, but it took that long.
പെർക്യൂഷനിസ്റ്റായിട്ട് തുടങ്ങുന്നു, പിന്നീട് ഒരു പ്ലേബാക്ക് സിംഗർ ആവുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ പിന്നീടാണ് ഈ കമ്പോസിങ് എന്ന ഇതിലേക്ക് കടക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഒരു ട്രാൻസിഷൻ എങ്ങനെയാണ് നോക്കി കണ്ടിരുന്നത്?
I think what brought me into composing music was my first album in Tamil called Minnal. Minnal was an independent album, and that time independent albums were unheard of because feature films is what we are used to, and that too in Tamil. So it is after Minnal that people recognized me that I can compose music. It's a very difficult thing trying to tell people, because when they accept you as a drummer, you're a drummer. When they accept you as a playback singer, you're a playback singer. Now you're coming in as a composer. But I still owe my success of Minnal also to my friends who were in the industry. You know, for example, H. Sridhar. H. Sridhar till today for me is the greatest sound engineer in India. I mean, he had magic. So he was the one who did the sound for Minnal. And it was distributed by Aruna Records, Alay Osai, Sound of Music in Dubai. So certain things I don't think you can make it happen. This is called destiny. I think what is not destiny is practice. You have always got to be ready. But destiny is where you can't make it happen. It happens. I wanted to do an independent album so that I can showcase something else other than, and my voice also sometimes I feel like it doesn't suit all heroes. So sometimes I feel like people have bracketed me as this playback singer who's a rapper and but eventually I was developing myself into a composer, studying more in terms of like, you know, getting my influences from R.D. Burman, Roja sir, even Rahman. And there was so much of influence of all this kind of music, having played with them, that I could fit into the composer's shoe. That is how it began. And after Minnal is when I got this offer to do Coolie. P. Vasu sir.
Yes.
So he said, will you do this film? Yes. If you have the confidence, I would love to do it. So I did that film. And that was my entry into a composer in a film. And then it went on to, of course, Coolie moved me on to Malayalam.
മലയാളം.
അലയാൻവാ അലിയാൻവാ ഈ പ്രണയതൽപത്തിലമരാൻവാ ഇതുരമര ഗന്ധർവയാമം ഇതുരനഗ സംഗീത സല്ലാപം അലനൊരിയുമാഷാട തീരും അതിലമൃദു പെയ്യും ഈ ഏഴാം യാമോ അറിയാതെ അറിയാതെ ഈ പവിഴവാർ തിങ്കളറിയാതെ